The Crane Girl, adapted by Curtis Manley and illustrated by Lin Wang. Based on Japanese folk tales. From the darkness, an animal's sudden cry, its fear and mine. Yasuhiro dropped his armload of firewood to follow the sound across the sharp buckwheat stubble of the landlord's field. He almost stepped on the crane, nearly invisible where it lay in the snow. A trap held 1 foot, but the crane looked unharmed. As Yasuhiro knelt, the bird closed its eyes and shuddered. Yasuhiro clicked his tongue to calm the bird. I'm not here to hurt you. Cold, hard trap. He sets me free with warm hands. When the bird stood up, it was tall as Yasuhiro. He stroked the soft feathers on its long neck with his fingertips, and the bird gently pressed the red top of its head against Yasuhiro's face. The crane's head against my cheek. How warm it was. The crane suddenly turned away, began running, and took flight over the wintry hills. Yasuhiro watched until the bird was a pale speck against the dark sky. Then he picked up the firewood his father had sent him for and hurried home. The next night, someone knocked on the door. Yasuhiro opened it and found a girl standing there, pale and shivering, tears frozen on her cheeks. Please, she said, bowing, I have no home and nothing to eat. May I stay here with you? I will help with the chores. I won't be any trouble. Yasuhiro led her to the warmth of the hearth. Father will decide whether you can stay. Yasuhiro's father, Ryota, got up and bowed. We are not rich like others in town, but you are welcome here as long as you work hard. If you are lazy or steal from me, you cannot stay. Do you agree to that? Yes, sir, the girl said and bowed again. Thank you. You may call me Hiroko. Yasuhiro and Hiroko became friends. They shared their chores and spent their time together. Springtime rain. I teach her games. Everyone else knows. Each morning, Ryota walked to town looking for work unloading boats or carrying heavy baskets. He returned in the evening, usually with a fish or noodles. But when he couldn't find work, he came home with only his sadness, crying the name of Yasuhiro's mother. Mother died when I was young, Yasuhiro whispered to Hiroko one of those nights. Father says she wove the finest kimono silk on the whole island. We still have her loom and thread, but Father had to sell all the fabric she made except my scarf. Oh, Yasu, it's so beautiful, Hiroko said as she stroked the soft fabric. His mother's love, threads of all colors, glowing in the weave. The next day, Hiroko bowed to Ryota. If it would please you, Ryota-san, I will weave silk for you. It will bring a good price in the market. I have but one request. Neither you nor Yasuhiro must open the door or look at me while I am weaving, no matter how long I might take. Do you agree to that? Yasuhiro and Ryota nodded and said yes. Then I will weave for you. She took the bowl of rice and bean sprouts that Yasuhiro offered and closed the door. My wife's loom pounding on my heart behind that door. The loom sounded all the night and the next day. Only after dinner did it go silent. When Hiroko finally opened the door, she was carrying a bolt of cloth light as a summer breeze. White silk speckled with black, tracks of winter's birds. A merchant bought the silk for as much gold as Ryota could earn in 5 months. Heavy sack of coins. Why should I beg for work? Now Ryota often slept late. By the time he walked to the village, there was no work left. Instead, he sat with the merchants in the warm sun, eating and drinking all afternoon. The gold was gone in just 3 months. So again, Hiroko closed the door to weave, taking with her a bowl of tofu and ginger that Yasuhiro had prepared for her. This time the girl spent 2 full days with the loom. The fabric was even finer than before. Weightless silk, her trembling hands and tired eyes. A merchant paid so much that Ryota stopped even trying to look for work. He went to town only to sit by the docks with the merchants and boast of the fine silk he would weave for them. Cup by cup, his father swallows. In a few months, all the gold was spent again. More cloth, demanded Ryota. Hiroko looked down at the floor. I am still too weak, sir. Next month I will weave more. You will do it now, insisted Ryota. And before Yasuhiro could stop him, Ryota pushed the girl into the room and slid the door shut. Yasuhiro looked at the door and remembered his promise to Hiroko never to open it. Knock of her loom, I put down the chopsticks and stare at my rice. A day passed and then another. The loom's rhythm seemed slower with each passing hour. Ryota paced back and forth. 3 days! How those merchants must laugh at me. Finally, the loom fell quiet. Are you done with the cloth? Ryota asked, and slid the door open. He cried out and fell back onto the floor. Yasuhiro rushed towards his father, but stopped and stared. Through the open door he saw a long, thin neck and feathers flecked with blood, and then a great wing slammed the door shut. Ryota ran past Yasuhiro and stumbled outside into the darkness. Even the moon gone, all my good luck lost again. When Hiroko finally came out, her face was pale and her eyes were red for crying. Yasu, here's the silk for your father. Once he sells it, he need not beat any burdens for any months. I'm sorry about father, Yasuhiro said, gazing down at the fabric. Hiroko pressed her head against him. The last time I will touch his cheek. Cold tears. Yasuhiro thought of what he'd seen through the open doors and touched Hiroko's neck. Why did you pluck your own feathers for the cloth? You saved my life when I was caught in the trap, said the girl. You were so gentle and kind, I wanted to be with you. Hiroko's feathers, her love for me, threaded through the silk. Hiroko pulled away from him. But I can stay here no longer. She hurried outside and within 3 steps changed back into a crane and flew away. Everything lost. How could he ever love a crane? Yasuhiro ran and ran, calling after her and sobbing. When she was just a dark speck in the dawn sky, he could run no more. He must have fallen asleep, for suddenly Hiroko was bending over him. Yasu, go home. You will freeze here in the snow. I won't go back, said Yasuhiro. Take me with you. Hiroko shook her head. Our life is too different. It's a hard life. You wouldn't like it. I will like it because I will be with you. Then follow me. She began running. And flap your wings hard. But I don't have. But he did. He did have wings. Matching her wing beats, my heart soars. Together they flew, low over the hills and along the river to the marshes at the edge of the sea. Her people clacked their beaks in welcome and danced for them. Yasuhiro and Hiroko stayed together all the rest of their long lives and raised many crane children, one by one. Spring sun, our chick's feathers wet from the egg. How lucky we all are to be cranes. When the bird stood up, it was tall as Yasuhiro.